Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at Parodius Da for the Super Famicom, which is a 1992 port of the original 1990 arcade game developed and published by Konami. This is a series that for the most part has stayed exclusive to Japan. None of the console ports have ever been released in North America, but this game actually did get a release in PAL regions under the title Parodius Nonsense Fantasy. As the title implies, this game and the entire series is a parody version of Gradius, complete with insane characters and settings. The plot for this game in particular concerns a group of spaceship pilots and flying animals defending the Earth from the Great Octopus, and hilarity ensues. The gameplay in any Parodius game is essentially the same as Gradius. The control scheme is the same. The power-up system remains intact, allowing you to choose what power-up you want and when, and the stage layouts are also very similar, and the difficulty is definitely still there, although you do have the option to tone it down a bit. There are, however, some significant differences aside from just the visual and audio design. For starters, you have 4 different characters to choose from in Parodius Da: the Vic Viper from the Gradius series, Twinbee, and a flying pig and or squid. Each ship coming complete with its own assortment of power-ups, and for me, more playable ships in a shooter is never a bad thing. Later Parodius games incorporated a lot more characters, but for the purposes of this game, 4 is more than enough. Also, in addition to the Gradius-style power-up system, there are multicolored bell power-ups that can be collected that offer all kinds of different effects, some of them being activated automatically, and some of them you can hang on to for later. And this is something obviously carried over from Twinbee, which is another great series of Konami shooters. All the bells and whistles aside, though, a shooter is only as good as its core gameplay, which means that Parodius is awesome, since again it's just a wacky version of Gradius, and I've personally never met a Gradius game that I didn't like. So if you're also a fan of the Gradius series, then you're almost guaranteed to like the gameplay in Parodius. It offers a bit of variety, it's challenging, and it's a lot of fun. Now, for the stuff that people really know Parodius for, all of the batshit crazy things that make it a parody. Pirate ships with cat heads, giant cabaret dancers, flying pigs, sumo wrestlers, Easter Island heads that vomit up other Easter Island heads, and so much more. The visual design of this game is what really makes it a Parodius game. Each stage has a different motif, and the entire game is very colorful and filled with a lot of little details. The characters, the enemy designs, the bosses, it's all really off the wall and makes this game just that much more enjoyable and memorable. It's what sets it apart from all of the other shooters out there. On top of that, Parodius Da also features some outstanding sound design. The soundtrack is very upbeat and wacky, and it matches the visuals perfectly. Plus, it's a 90s 16-bit Konami game, which pretty much guarantees that it's going to have an outstanding soundtrack, and for me, all of these things put together make for a near-perfect gaming experience. The core gameplay is solid and very fun. The graphics are great with a lot of colorful and very vibrant visuals, and the soundtrack is catchy and accentuates every other aspect of the game. I won't say it's the best shooter ever made, but there's definitely nothing here for me to complain about. This game is awesome. So, Parodius Da, and the entire series for that matter, is pretty damn cool, and I think well worth playing for shooter fans, and especially for fans of Konami's other shooter series. A quick check online has complete copies of this game going for between 40 and 50 bucks, while loose carts can be found for around 20, which I'd say it's worth. Like I said at the start of the review, there is also a PAL version available, but it tends to be a bit more expensive. But if you have an SNES or a Super Famicom and you've not yet tried a Parodius game, this would be a great place to start. It's Parodius Da, and I like it a lot.